Hey, really glad to be here, as I know that you all are. And the director, or the position there says I'm the founder of Downtown Credo, but when I come to the club, I get to just be myself, which is really nice. And if you haven't found your way into a club on a regular basis, it's a great place to come and be yourself and make friends. And so that's what this club has been for me over the 7 or so years that I've been back in the city. And so it's a real joy to be here with you today. Part of who I am as a person of faith, so they said I could offer an invocation and invite the Lord into the space with us today. So I'm going to do that, and I'd love for you to join me in inviting the Lord into this space. Hey, Lord, we are glad to be here today. We remember that everything happens according to your purpose and direction. That you have laid out the work and the families and the children that fill up this space on a day-to-day basis. And we are grateful that you are caught up in the midst of it. We say you're welcome here, good Lord, to join in the work. That children that enter would find peace and quiet and encounter sincere and authentic love. That staff would be enlivened and encouraged and fulfilled in their work. And that potential would be released in everybody who enters this space. We ask that you would protect this space, good Lord, from all malcontent, dissension, and evil. That it be a special place set aside for your good work of flourishing people to their best potential. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I have one more job, which is good. We're in for a treat because Tylea Andrews is going to present our National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn early lights what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars Introducing the best president ever, Mr. Gary Kennedy.
Thanks, Delia. Actually, I think Talia is one of the most remarkable young ladies that I've ever known in my career, and I've known thousands and thousands of kids. Actually, she and I were talking before we got together, and she's been accepted so far to 7 schools. On that list are Clemson, UCF, I believe, was one, Stetson, Rollins, North Carolina A&T, Shaw, and a couple of others that I probably don't remember. That's about as far as I can go in my mental capacity. But she's a remarkable young lady, and I think she would tell you that the Boys and Girls Clubs here has been very formative for her. It's my great honor to welcome you here today to our beautiful new Hughes Boys and Girls Club. And as Tasha said, it's been a dream for a long time. And Tasha, trust me, has let me know just about every day over 16 years that we need this club. So I certainly are happy that you're here. And if you haven't had a chance already to tour the club, we'll be having tours after the ceremonies here. There are a lot of club members. We're live, so club kids are coming in. It's a normal day for us, so you'll see a lot going on. And we have looks like a good group back here. I also hope that you'll look at the historical timeline in the back of the room of Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida's presence in the city of Orlando. Actually, Tasha may not have known this, but the very first chapter of Boys Clubs, what was then Boys Clubs of Orlando, was founded practically at this very site. It was just across the street, what is now the Davis Armory, and it was founded by a man named Joe Stripp. Joe worked for Parks and Recreation. He'd been a professional baseball player. And I believe the records show that he was the last one to throw a legal spitball. So we've got very auspicious beginnings. So who would have dreamed that 75 years ago that we'd have this beautiful facility serving now more than 300 children here in Paramore. And as all of our clubs will be maxed out, if not maxed out already, very quickly. Unfortunately, the demand and the needs of children far outstrips the resources that we have right now to serve those kids. Boys and Girls Clubs is important to our community in many, many ways. It's not only that this club is our newest and our largest, 30,300 square feet. We've worked hard to design it in a way that it will meet our children's needs. We're located also in a very special place with a very special partnership, a collaborative partnership that is the ACE campus, the Academic Center for Excellence. We have a great relationship and partnership with Orange County Public Schools. We also have here the assets of a community clinic. We have a preschool that Harris Rosen is funding. And soon becoming, as you all know, will be UCF downtown. We already partner with UCF Create in Valencia. And I'm excited about getting all that intellectual firepower here. So we'll have college students who will be able to work for us and serve as volunteers and interns. So I don't know that anyone could have envisioned this many years ago, but we're very grateful to the vision of our donors, of our board members, of our partners through the years. We've got a great staff team, and I think I was going to introduce Tasha, but she's already introduced herself. Let me just say this about Tasha. I sort of think Tasha's a force. I don't think this, I know this. She is a force for children, and she has unusually gifts, unusual. I don't mean that in a good way. She has incredible gifts, and she's not shy, as you can see. She has changed so many lives, and so Tasha, we're grateful for you. We couldn't have a better club director here than you. I'm already giving you a standing ovation. I can't do any better. And then I also want to thank Betsy Owens. Betsy is a spectacular, she plays many roles, but she's our director of marketing. She does a great job pulling all this together. Betsy, thank you wherever you are. She's probably sweating bullets, so thank you, Betsy. And a critical piece of our organization, we have a great COO, Mac Reed. Mac is in the back room, but Mac, we appreciate you. Now, I'm fond of saying that we have a team here that makes me look a lot better than I am, and that is the truth. We have a great team. We have an exceptional team with Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida. They know why they're here. They're highly committed to our purpose. They are highly committed to transforming children's lives and making sure that every day when they come in, the 15,000 children that we serve have a great experience. I want to point out a couple of other key donors that are here today. We've got our board chair and her husband, Lars Anderson, Julie and Lars Anderson, who our multi-purpose room they're named after. And longtime partner, the name of our Youth of the Year program, now naming our Learning Center, the Kiwanis Club of Orlando Foundation is here. So guys, thank you so much. You'll see the rooms that bear their names, and by the way, there's plenty of opportunities to name more rooms. So you can have your name there. Steve Apple, you're a good candidate for this, you and Patty. So I want to make sure that you know that, and I want to encourage you today to walk around, talk to the kids, let it all come in and understand this. We'd love to have every room in here named, and candidly, we need the opportunity to get more funds in the door. Now, a very special family and a very special man that's been engaged with this organization now almost, if not from the very beginning. David Hughes, Vincent Hughes, their family, Patrick Hughes is now on our board. Their legacy and commitment to this organization has been phenomenal. Actually, David's dad and Vincent's dad served on our board a number of years ago. I don't know that Mr. Hughes could have envisioned that we'd be here today. You know, the early days of a nonprofit, they're planting a seed, and that seed gets nurtured. And so I don't know that at any time the founders and those who are involved at that time would see that we'd be one day 35 boys and girls clubs and 15,000 kids. But that seed was planted. David himself has been very, Vincent used to be on our board as well. Vincent, you remember that, and was a great board volunteer for us. And I'm pleased to say and thrilled to say that now Patrick is on our board of directors, David and Linda's son. So we're glad that you're here, that you've made this significant investment in the facility that will change lives for generations. This is not a one-time thing. This is changing lives for generations. David has stood by us with patience and generosity and humility. It's actually taken us, as Tasha sort of outlined, over 10 years to find the right place to do this club, build this club in Paramore. I think David might remember I even offered one time to give them their money back. And he said, no, Gary, I know you're going to get this done. So he's the best kind of community servant. He's been on our side and on our team, and I'm sure been praying for us and pulling for us in our organization, the children we serve. So David, if you'll come up, we've got a small token of token of our appreciation, and you'll get to share a few words. Come on, ladies.
I will be brief, but Gary stole my thunder a little bit. Natasha, there was a club here way back. I mean, when I was a kid, that long ago. But it was only a half a club. Why? It was a boys' club. Yeah, it was the predecessor of the Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida. And the objectives were the same. Vincent and I grew up just a few blocks from here. It was located, literally, as Gary said, a half a block away from here, the other side of Paramore. And it was a beacon for the kids that were growing up in the area. We spent lots and lots of time here. There was a fellow by the name of Bill Frangus who was running it at the time I was there. And he was a mentor for hundreds of kids throughout Central Florida and was a mentor for me. But if that was back in the 50s, that long ago. But now if you fast forward about more than 40 years, when our company had outgrown its facilities and we decided to relocate our company's headquarters here in the Paramore district. And we looked around and said, what happened to our club? You know, what happened? And so when Gary and some community leaders came to us and asked if we would help rebuild a new modern facility, we were all in. You know, it was a no-brainer as far as I was concerned. So it's been a great thing to see it really happen. But, you know, it's not about us, it's about the kids. It's about the kids. And last month, there was the annual fundraiser for Central Florida Boys and Girls Club right here in this building. There was a volunteer stood up in front of the group and gave a testimonial. 16-year-old Jacadius, and I'd like to quote something that he said, because he can say it so much better than I. He said that when other kids would leave school and run around the streets, I would go to my club. When other kids were smoking, drinking, and making bad choices, I would go to my club. If there was one thing in my life that I know for certain, it was if I was going to my club, I was doing the right thing. And that's really what it's all about. It's about making right choices, having mentors, and learning to do the right thing. And I challenge anyone to name for me an organization that does more for at-risk kids than the Boys and Girls Club. Again, I thank Dr. Phillips Foundation, the Orange County Schools, the city officials that helped so much to make this happen, and thanks all of you for being here. Thanks.
Now to get David on the speaking circuit. Now, David, you're my son, who's actually in the back of the room, but he's a Florida Gator. I would tell people that he couldn't do any better, but I know you're a big Gator and a Gator alum. He and you represent the Gators very well. So I want to recognize another organization that has been such a big part of our organization's growth through the years. The first large gift that they made under my tenure was for our Universal Orlando Club expansion, where we took our first club and modernized it and added a teen center. And since 1955, the Dr. Phillips organization, Dr. Phillips Charities, has contributed almost $4.5 million. And because of their generosity, the lives of generations of children have been better. Dr. Phillips' gift not only helped us build this facility, but it also is providing some partial funding for the operations piece. And I'll just speak about that a little bit because I think sometimes people think we have a revenue stream from the kids. We do not. Every child represents a cost. Every child represents the means that we have to ramp up fundraising even more. You know, the children are worth it, obviously, and the return is great, and those of you who know us well, and most of you do, know that we get great results. This past year, 100% of our seniors graduated high school. Based on surveying of the children that we do, our teenagers, 91% of them report that they're abstaining from sexual activity, drinking, and smoking. And here's the other reality, though, that you need to be understanding. If you're a black or brown boy, your chances of ending up in jail and prison are very high. If you look around, 1 in 4 will end up in prison or jail in their lifetime. In my view, it's completely unacceptable to be in the greatest country on earth. I feel like I have the privilege of living in the greatest community in the greatest country on earth, and we've got to do better. We've just got to make these children a higher priority. I believe in them. I love them. I fought for them, not as probably artfully and as forcefully as Tasha, but they deserve every opportunity to succeed. These kids, as all kids, are God's children. So without saying any more, I would like to invite Ken Robinson. Ken, we've got something for you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. I'm with David. You invite us up to speak, and then you steal our thunder. You give away some of the secrets that we're going to try and tell the people. It's really a proud moment to be here, and it's a wonderful opportunity to come along with a great organization like the Boys and Girls Club and the Hughes family and do this. You mentioned the Gators, but Vincent is a Florida State grad, so I think you need to remember that part of it and not forget about it. Dr. Phillips, we believe that so many kids have undiscovered talents that can propel them to great heights when they're given the opportunity. That's what the Boys and Girls Club does. As Gary mentioned, Dr. Phillips has been engaged with the Boys and Girls Club since 1954, according to our notes. And there aren't many organizations that we've been involved with that long, and very, very proud to be doing that. Myself, I walked in the Boys and Girls Club in Pine Hills in 1967. I was thinking about that. Max Wyman was running it, and it didn't save me, I don't think, but it sure saved my mother. So that was the important part of it. She was thrilled there was a boys club down the street from us. Our board kind of directs us in terms of where we give our money. And we've got a few of our board members here. We have Dr. Margaret Miller. Margaret, could you wave? And John Hillemeyer here with us as well. Harvey Burnett's not here with us. I don't believe, I didn't see him, but he was involved with bringing the Kiwanis alongside us into the organization to make a donation on our behalf, their behalf too. Tasha, I met you a few years ago. You do such a wonderful job. And I know Jessica moved you until she said something about when you were younger. I saw a little tear coming out of your eyes, and then I saw your eyes change a little bit. And Fuku Kachu, you still look wonderful. And Betsy has been wonderful for our staff to work with here, and we appreciate everything that the Boys and Girls Club's doing in this community. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Ken. We're grateful again. I can't tell you how much. Now, I've got the privilege of introducing somebody very special, and he, in my tenure, by the way, I just want to go back. 1954 was a good year. It was the year I was born. Latter part of it, but still haven't had my birthday that's coming up for 54. And you walked in a Boys and Girls Club in 67. I walked in one in 66 in Panama City, Florida. Now, on with the introduction of the big cheese here. We're privileged to have Jim Clark, our national president and CEO. In my 41 years, I think there have been 4 national presidents. I don't know of any that has been as dynamic, as forceful as Jim in communicating the message, calling the needs to the front, and really leading and guiding Boys and Girls Clubs across the country in a different direction. Candidly, it's all about elevating the platform from where we work for. So Jim is a talented guy beyond belief, and we're privileged to have him here today. I have stuff scripted, but there's something like 50,000 professional staff and 285,000 board and program volunteers in the country, but Jim gets it done. So Jim, come on up.
Well, thank you, Gary, and good afternoon. The truth be known, when Gary Kane calls, I come. That's how much I think of Gary Kane, and he's a humble guy, and I was going to say this a little bit later, but Orlando and Central Florida is really fortunate to have the leader that you have in Gary Kane. He's not only just respected in this community, he's an icon in the Boys and Girls Club movement for his commitment and dedication to youth who need us most in this country. So, Gary, thank you for your leadership. And Jessica, I can't tell you how relieved I was to hear you're at Fidelity. Where'd she go? Fidelity Investments. There she is in the back. You have part of my retirement in your hands. So treat it carefully and well. Tasha I've gotten to know over the years as well, and enough has been said about her, but I'll pile on a little bit because what a force of nature when it comes to youth development and changing the dynamic for youth. Again, this community, Paramore area, so fortunate to have you leading the charge here. Thank you. And I'm so glad that we took a moment to celebrate our nation with the National Anthem, because bottom line is I'm a patriot and certainly very bully about America and what we stand for, because to me it's all about access to experiences and opportunities. It's called the American Dream and the American Promise. And I could go on quite a while about this, but I won't. And it's real simple in my mind. Some kids today have access to those experiences and opportunities, middle and upper income class kids. And other kids in this nation don't. And Boys and Girls Clubs is all about being the great equalizer, leveling the playing field, if you will, to change the dynamic for youth, especially those who need us most, and help them fulfill their dreams, yes, but also on what this nation is built upon, this promise, this American dream. And that's simple too, in my mind, that if you live in this country, you're going to get an education, and if you work hard, you can be anything that you want to be. You know, you read and hear a lot on the news about us becoming a nation of haves and have-nots. We're already there, and that's the reality. But when you think about it, and you think about the challenges that our kids face today, their zip code or where they live does not have to define their future. Again, the silver lining inside of some of these dark clouds and statistics that you hear about. And to me, that silver lining is also simple. It's called the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah, we're not the only one, and we can't do it all. But certainly we're a catalyst when it comes to changing communities, changing families, and saving and transforming the lives of kids and teens. So to the Hugheses, to the Hughes family, Ken Robinson, all of the other supporters, stakeholders, government officials, and certainly the school district that stepped forward to make this all possible. You've done something. You have done something. You've not only helped fulfill on that American dream and American promise, but you've also come together as a community. And it's about the old adage that it takes a village to raise a child today. And that is more true than ever before. It takes a community, all of you coming together to raise our kids. And you know, we really are fortunate. I don't know if they're going to call on our tour guides later, but I want to call on them right now and recognize them, because the kids and teens coming to this club right here are the future leaders of this community, of this nation. They're the doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, the business owners, everything that will lead us into our golden years. They're all in the back. I want you to stand up and let's recognize all of them. You know, Gary said it. We live in a very special place, the greatest nation on earth, the greatest nation in the world. And it's because of people like you. Not every country in the world, very few, have what we have and how special it is. So for me, there's no higher honor, no greater privilege, and no better reason than to be with all of you this afternoon to celebrate the youth of this community, to celebrate their families, and to celebrate the great work that's done here at the Boys and Girls Club, and to thank the special people that came together to make this all possible. So again, to the Hugheses, Ken and the Dr. Phillips Foundation and Kiwanis and all the others that have supported this particular club, thank you for what you do to make America a special place to live. Thank you.
Well, I think we're getting ready to cut a ribbon. Let's see, Betsy, are you in charge of this? Who's in charge of this? I don't know. You guys ready? All right, I think we'd like to get some of the Hughes family members up here, and some of Dr. Phillips folks, and some club members, some alumni, Jessica and others. I think we have more than one alum. We have, of course, David and Ken are alums. Here. This is the Kodak moment right here.